down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bill. Once I had a girl on Rocky Top, half bear, the other half cat. Wild as a big buck, sweet as soda pop, I still dream about that. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. 1, 2,
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Vols Society Live on this Wednesday night. Glad to be with y'all tonight as I'm back in the nighttime setting after recording a couple of daytime episodes for the last couple of weeks. My name is David Morrison. I'm the Vols Society analyst on the Vols Society Network. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/UT Vols Society, as we are closing in on 5,000 followers on Facebook. Thank you very much. We're just 100 away from accomplishing that. We were trying to get to 5,000 by March Madness, which March Madness is 2 weeks from tomorrow, or a week from tomorrow, however the calendar sets up this year with it. I think it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. So let's try to get to 5,000 followers on our Facebook page by the first weekend of March Madness. All right. Also, welcome to our YouTube viewers on our YouTube channel. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe the video there. And, of course, you can also comment on the show tonight. Excuse me. I have the live chat on my side, so don't forget to leave your comments, questions. As, like I said, you are a part of the show. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Tennessee men's basketball team pulled a win off yesterday against Georgia on the road, 75-68, and then they pulled a monumental win on Saturday, 67-62. We'll talk about both of those games momentarily, and we will preview the Arkansas game coming up Saturday at noon at Thompson-Boling Arena, and it's also a checkered Thompson-Boling Arena, so very exciting to see that. We'll preview the Lady Vols. I was at the Lady Vols game Sunday afternoon as they took on LSU. We'll talk about that. Lady Vols are in Nashville right now getting ready for the SEC Tournament. They won't play until the last game Friday night, and we'll talk about who they might be facing that game and the entire weekend. Tennessee baseball team had a Josh Heupel-like weekend, putting up some huge numbers over the weekend against Iona. We'll kind of talk about that. And we'll also kind of talk about the ETSU game. And they got a huge weekend series coming up down in Houston for the Shriners Hospital Children's College Classic, taking on some pretty monumental teams. We kind of been playing some less than stellar competition. Well, the competition is about to step up big in Houston. That's kind of the three main things we'll be talking about tonight. All right, let's dive into Tennessee basketball. As I mentioned, Tennessee defeated Georgia last night 75-68. Huge game for Josiah Jordan James. 23 points last night for Triple J. He was 8 for 12 from the field, 3 from 7 on behind 3-point line, 4 for 5 from the field, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. He was all over the place. Did a fantastic job for Tennessee last night. Ken Chandler, another big game for him, 16 points. And Vescovy with 11. Brandon Huntley-Hatfield still getting some minutes, still improving week after week. He had 4 points with 5 rebounds. Uros Plavich had 10 rebounds last night himself. So, like I said, Tennessee, it was kind of a wild game. I mean, it was, like I said, Georgia is dead last in the SEC, have not played at all very well. And it looks like Tom Crean is probably going to be out at the end of the year. Hello to my grandparents. So, like I said, it was kind of shocking to see Tennessee, after coming off that monumental win, and then struggling on the road at Georgia, which Tennessee has not won at Stegeman Coliseum in 11 years. So just kind of it was kind of eye-opening experience just seeing that. But like I said, nobody can hardly win on the road this year in the SEC. But anywho, Tennessee does take care of business. They really kind of broke open that game under 16 minutes to go in the second half, and really never relinquish the lead from there. So, like I said, Tennessee does pick up a win, and like I said, now they're in contention to possibly may win an SEC championship, regular season championship, or at least share the SEC regular season championship. It all depends on how Auburn does this week. Like I said, it's kind of hard to figure out who's going to win it as this moment. Try to give you a little bit better update on Saturday. It's right now a 3-horse race between Kentucky, Auburn, and Tennessee. Like I said, Tennessee has already defeated has beaten 2 of the 3 teams in the top 4. Obviously, they beat Kentucky. They split Kentucky, I should say. They beat Auburn in our only meeting, and then we've already lost to Arkansas, but we do get the Hogs on Saturday. So I would love to see Tennessee split a regular season championship. That's just huge, especially just a month ago. We were wondering if Tennessee would even make it to the double bye of the SEC tournament, and now here we are, may have a shot of at least sharing the regular season championship. And then Saturday, Tennessee took on Auburn, sold out Thompson-Boling Arena, Rocky Top Rowdies and everything was out in force. Bruce Pearl, he's been back several times as head coach. But like I said, we have never beat Bruce Pearl at home since he's been the head coach at Auburn. And Tennessee took care of business in that game. Like I said, Tennessee kind of got off to a red-hot start a little bit in the first half, and then Auburn just kind of poured it on. We made a lot of mental mistakes, trailed at the half, but we came out firing, scored 42 points in that second half, and ended up getting the win 67-62. Like I said, Jabari Smith had a big game against us, 27 points, 3 for 9 from behind the arc. And, of course, we fouled him on one of those 3-point shots. He ended up getting that free throw. Can't be making mental mistakes like that, especially in a big game. But like I said, for the most part, Tennessee took care of business. Santiago Vescovi was the leading scorer in that game with 14 points. Kennedy Chandler with 13. Josiah Jordan-James was 10 points, had 9 rebounds. Like I said, Triple J has just really stepped up his game in the last couple of weeks, and I'm very happy that we're finally seeing the Josiah Jordan-James that we've been waiting for 3 years to really elevate his game, and I think he is peaking at the right time. And as a matter of fact, I think this team is peaking right now at the right time because, like I said, we are now officially in March, and the SEC tournament for the men starts next week. And this is where teams need to get hot for the tournament. Like I said, nobody remembers you getting hot in November, December, or January, let alone February. They remember how you get hot in March, and March is really what matters. And like I said, I think this team is peaking at the right moment. Zakai Ziegler had 13 points in that game. And kind of switching gears here, some sad news report about Zakai Ziegler, but it does have a happy ending. Pull up the article really quick. Let me find the date. Let's see here. I can't find. Let's see. Here we go. Right here. Read more. So on February 26th, and I'm reading this from the GoFundMe page. On February 26, 2022, a fire destroyed the residence of Zakai Ziegler's families in Queens, New York, where Zakai was born and raised. His mother, who is raising his special needs 4-year-old nephew, they lost all their belongings in a fire on the 26th of February, including Zakai Ziegler's nephews, vitals accessible equipments, which is wheelchairs, splints, stuff to that helps them function throughout the day. So a GoFundMe page was started by Sakai Ziegler. The goal was $50,000, and it started today. And I'm happy to report right now, that was created 5 hours ago. Over $243,058 has been raised to help Sakai Ziegler's family in this terrible fire that happened in Sakai's home. Just while we grieve for the loss of Sakai Ziegler and his family's homes and belongings, especially for a special needs nephew, it just shows why we are the volunteer state. It's not just a nickname for our school or a nickname for our favorite college athletic team. We come together in times of need, and it's just remarkable to see Big Orange Nation opening up the wallets, the purses, and donating, especially at the time when people's trying to save money for a variety of reasons and expenses going up and try to save every penny. But they Vol Nation and just the nation in general really has opened their heart to this fantastic, not only basketball player, but a great human being. And especially with, helping continue to mobilize this 40-year-old, like I said, who needs these equipment to proceed through a daily life as he faces challenges himself. So just fantastic story. Like I said, sad to hear, but it does have a happy ending. And then Tennessee, let's kind of switching back to basketball here. Tennessee getting ready to play Arkansas on Saturday, 12 noon tip-off on ESPN at Thompson-Boling Arena. Checker Thompson-Boling in effect. Like I said, this is the second time Tennessee has played Arkansas this year. They met back on February the 19th. Kind of an ugly performance by the Vols. Lost 58-48 in that game. Pull up the stats really quick here. In that one, like I said, Kennedy Chandler was the leading scorer in that game with 11 points. I'm sorry, Ziegler was the leading scorer, had 12 points off the bench. And Jalen Williams and JT Note had 13 points in that game. It was actually more of a defensive battle than I remembered it being now looking at the stats. Like I said, I don't think you'll see a defensive slugfest in this one. You'll see some physical play, but I think you'll see a lot more teams scoring points. I think Note has definitely wrapped up his contention for player of the year in the SEC. He's just a fantastic player. And like I said, Eric Musselman, like we mentioned March, he gets hot in March. Last year, Arkansas made it to the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament. I know they want more, along with Tennessee. I know Tennessee would love to make a deep run at the big dance. But like I said, regular season finale, a huge game coming up. Tennessee and Arkansas playing for a lot, especially the Vols, who may win a share of the regular season championship coming up on Saturday. So it should be a fun one to watch. So we start the final Saturday of the regular season of college basketball, and then some games on Sunday, and then we'll focus on tournament time. All right. Talk about the Lady Vols really quick. Like I said, Tennessee Lady Vols in Nashville right now for the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament at Bridgestone Arena. They will face the winner of the Georgia-Alabama game late Friday night. Estimated tip-off time they just posted around 9:15. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, approximately 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. The Lady Vols will either meet Georgia or Alabama. Alabama, matter of fact, picked up a win in the first round against their arch rivals, the Auburn Tigers, this afternoon. So we'll find out. It will either be Georgia or Alabama will face the Lady Vols. And if the Lady Vols win, they will get possibly the team they played Sunday and that is the LSU Tigers. We mentioned the Ball Society, me particularly, was in Knoxville on Sunday afternoon watching Tennessee take on Kim Malarkey's LSU Tigers. LSU got off to a hot start. Lady Vols down 16 at one point. I mean, LSU was not missing at all in the first half. And then the Lady Vols came back, played some aggressive defense, got some stops, and really got back into it. And like I said, almost made it a game and had a chance to hit the game-winning shot. Unfortunately, Sarah Puckett turned the ball over trying to inbound it, and LSU sneaks out of Thompson-Boling with a win, 57-54. Like I said, Tennessee Lady Vols really missing Jordan Horston right now. It's just unfortunate that this injury took place right when these games really matter, and just trying to find who that next player is. I mean, Ray Burrell had some flashes Sunday. Tamara Key had tried her best, but it just feels like this team doesn't jump to that next gear as far as elevating the team in general. It's just kind of they're kind of coasting along, and that's kind of the frustrating part. Especially you got some veteran players you want to see elevate. I mentioned this before when on the men's side when Akamwa went out with his injury. Akamwa, a very important player on the team, but everybody stepped up, and we started seeing players from the coming off the bench elevating their game, and we've seen the emergence of Josiah Jordan James has stepped up, and Euros Plodgis, and then players hadn't really seen the court much, Joseph Adu and Mishak, and it just seemed like everybody elevated their role, and now they're playing very hot. It just seems like the Lady Vols are still trying to figure it out, and that's just the frustrating part. Like I said, at times they look like $1 million, and at times they don't. I just can't really figure this team out. And like I said, they dug themselves into a big hole and almost dug themselves out, but just wasn't quite the answer they were looking for. So we shall see how they'll do. Obviously, I expect Lady Vol Nation to be out in full force, pretty much playing in our backyard. And like I said, just we'll see how they'll do. Like I said, some tough competition along the way. Also today at the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament, the SEC said goodbye to one of its legendary coaches in Gary Blair. The Texas A&M coach, of course, announced his retirement earlier in the year, and unfortunately, today was his last game as Texas A&M didn't really have a strong record to make it to the NCAA tournament. But Gary Blair, the head coach of Texas A&M, finishes his career with 852 wins, 347 losses. He was at Texas A&M from 2003 to 2022. Before that, he was at Arkansas from 1993 to 2003. So he's, like I said, he was in the SEC for 10 years and then went to Big 12 country until the Aggies joined the conference in 2012 and stayed for another 10 years. So 20 years coaching SEC women's basketball. He won it. He won the national championship in 2011 while he was at Texas A&M. That was the last year they were in the Big 12. And then they won the regular season SEC championship in 2021. A couple of Big 12 tournament championships, won the SEC tournament in 2013, and just has a great resume. And, like I said, just a legendary coach. It doesn't get talked about compared to a lot of the coaches that have come into the SEC compared to, Pat Summitt and Don Staley and others that have been there. So Gary Blair, like I said, definitely deserves recognition even from the Tennessee perspective. And like I said, just sad way to see him go away, but wish him the best in the future. Also, I noticed during the telecast, the SEC women's telecast, apparently Andy Landers, who's one of the analysts on the SEC network, who's famous for dyeing his hair black, apparently he's quit dyeing his hair. So welcome to the great club, Andy Landers. Finally, we knew that was not your real hair. I'm just kidding. We're just having fun on here. Anyways, so we'll see how the Lady Vols do in the SEC tournament. All right, Tennessee baseball team. Boy, oh boy, you talk about a team that got red hot over the weekend. Let's go back to Friday afternoon. Tennessee opening their weekend series against Iona. 27-1, the final score. It was a long game, very long game, but just a dominating performance for Tennessee as we pull up some of the stats in this game. Get it right here. Tennessee scored 12 runs in the first 2 innings. Chase Burns went on the mound for Tennessee. I mean, it's just crazy numbers they put up. 4 in the first inning, 8 in the second inning, 5 in the fourth, 4 in the fifth. I mean, just on and on and on and on. I mean, even just looking at the box scores is just amazing. Trey Lipscomb on Friday was 5 for 5 with 9 RBIs and 3 runs. Unbelievable performance. You talk about a breakout player on this Tennessee baseball team that, you know, a lot of Tennessee fans did not know what to expect. You know, we talked about who's going to fill in for Max Ferguson and Liam Spence, and Evan Russell's going back behind the plate. What's that infield going to look like? Are they still going to hit? They're still going to field? Yes. Trey Lipscomb is a big key factor. He had a huge game on Friday. Saturday, he had a huge game as Tennessee took on Iona. They shut out the Gales 29-0 in that game. I mean, especially in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning. Well, you can also say the 4th inning. They scored 5 runs. And then in the 5th, 4 runs. 6th inning, 7 runs. 7th inning, 6 runs. I mean, it's just unreal. The numbers that put up and in that game, Lipscomb was 3 for 4 with a couple runs, 3 RBIs. Drew Gilbert had 4 RBIs. Christian Scott, who was basically a pinch hitter, got 4 RBIs. I mean, this team is loaded right now, and just an unbelievable weekend. And they wrapped it up on Sunday. They beat Iona 12-2 in 7 innings. Called the game off. I think I don't know why they called the game off after 7 innings. I was up at Thompson Bowling, so I didn't really get to go by there. And then Tennessee played ETSU yesterday and only won 4-1. So talk about a drop off. No, just kidding. But the Tennessee baseball team has a huge weekend series. They are down at Houston at Minute Maid Park for the Shriners Hospital for Children's College Classic. And Friday night at 8:00 p.m. And it says you can watch it on the Houston Astros website, astros.com/MLB app. You can watch that game on Friday, and they take on the team that knocked them out of the College World Series last year, the number 1 team in the nation, the Texas Longhorns. That is a huge game for Tennessee coming up. Like I said, Tennessee's got a lot of games under their belt, but now they're getting ready to take on number 1 Texas Friday night. Saturday afternoon, they take on Baylor at 4 o'clock, and then Sunday taking on Oklahoma at noon. Like I said, it looks like you can watch all these games on astros.com/MLB app. I don't know if you got to pay for it or not. Hopefully, we can watch it for free. Like I said, Tennessee baseball team, red hot, had, a huge, historic weekend. Putting up some big numbers against Iona. Trey Lipscomb won co-hitter of the week. And now, like I said, we're done playing the Georgia Southerns and ETSUs and Ionas. Now we're playing the big boys now and taking on 3 teams from the Big 12 this weekend. So should be quite interesting to see that. Tennessee softball had their home opener today. They beat Tennessee Tech 11-1 today. Kind of had a rough going in California. Dropped some games, but like I said, now they're back home and they got a huge homestand coming up So like I said, try to get some wins underneath them before SEC play gets underway. Miss K says not shaving now. It comes and goes. It depends on how I feel. I try to, but it comes and goes. Anyways, thank you for joining Miss K. Like I said, just big weekend coming up for Tennessee athletics. Mentioned baseball. Lady Vols in Nashville for the SEC women's basketball tournament. It'll either be Georgia or Alabama that they'll take on late Friday night. You can catch that game on the SEC network approximately around 9:15 to 9:30. So it's going to be a late one. Unless you don't have to work tomorrow, it should be okay. And then men. Oh, thank you, Miss Case. Just still cute. Appreciate it. And then the men getting ready to take on Arkansas coming up Saturday afternoon on ESPN in a huge top 15 matchup as we are winding down the regular season of college basketball, getting ready for March Madness. I mean, March Madness to me is my favorite event in sports throughout the calendar year. I mean, I love college football. Like I said, those 4 months is probably my favorite 4 months, but these next 3 weeks right here, I absolutely love March Madness, and we're going to do a lot of March Madness coverage. Like I said, both of the Tennessee men's and women's team will be in the NCAA tournament. We will be go ahead and make the first announcement. The night of Selection Sunday for the men, which is March, I believe it's March the 10th. Is that right? No, let's see here. Go ahead and pull up the calendar here. So it will be, it says March 13th. Is that right? Yes. Okay. So Sunday, March 13th, following the announcements for the NCAA tournament, we will go live on Vol Society Live for a Tennessee men's basketball preview. And then the women's, I think, is announced that Monday night. We'll just talk about it on the Wednesday night show. But we will do a bracketology show that night, that March 13th, as we find out who Tennessee will face in the NCAA tournament and who they're pairing with. And then I will also, in my sports room, which is off on the camera, I've got my big board up here, and I definitely will do it on the Facebook page. I don't know how I'll transition over to YouTube, but we'll figure it out along the way. I will be making my NCAA tournament predictions live following the Tennessee announcement. So should be a lot of fun. Miss K says, I don't think the women or men's team will go all the way unless they improve. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mentioned the women, not having Jordan Horston. It seems like the team just still trying to find their way, and I just don't really like that at this moment. The men, like I said, it depends on how they get seeded. I think the men can make a decent run, but like I said, there's a lot of top teams that are, to me, better than what Tennessee's at. So just kind of depends on the pairing. And like I said, Tennessee is, you just never know how they do in these tournaments. And that's kind of one of the dicks against Rick Barnes is, he has a Final Four run, but he's only had one in his legendary career. Like I said, Tennessee, the furthest Tennessee has went was 2019, Sweet 16, when we ended up losing to Purdue in overtime. And then last year was just totally terrible, losing to Oregon State. And now you fast forward 1 year later, and Oregon State is at the bottom of not only the Pac-12, but just the Power 5 basketball teams. And it's just crazy to think. And even doing some research like of the last year's tournament and looking who the top teams were and where they are this year. Michigan was a number 1 seed last year, and now they may not even make the tournament. So a lot can change in a year. So we'll see how – it just depends on how the seedings go with the men. The women, like I said, I don't know it really matters. I mean, it just, like I said, they're going to have to just really improve big time. And I just don't know how they will. Matter of fact, I think right now in my early Final Four picks, I think from the women's side, South Carolina and LSU are legit Final Four teams. From the men's side, as far as the legit threat for the SEC, I think Arkansas can make a deep run. Eric Musselman has had some big runs so far in his coaching career, not only at Nevada, but now at Arkansas. Went to the Elite Eight last year. Auburn can make a deep run. Depends how Jabari Smith does. We'll kind of break that down when we get to it. But should be a lot of fun. Like I said, plenty of basketball coming up this weekend. Baseball team, softball team still in full swing. And we will talk about it. Like I said, we'll have the show next Wednesday night. We will preview the SEC men's basketball tournament, which is this year in Tampa Bay instead of Nashville. The women have the tournament rights in Nashville this year. The men going down to Tampa Bay on the beach to play the SEC tournament. And then that Sunday night, so not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, we will do a bracketology show for the Tennessee Volunteers. And then following that, I will be doing my tournament predictions on the big board with my little Sharpie and everything. So should be a lot of fun. Some March Madness content coming up. Please don't forget to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/UT Vols Society. We are 100 away from 5,000 followers. We want to hit that goal by March Madness, the first weekend of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So please tell all Vol fans about the Vols Society. YouTube page, we're closing in on 100 subscribers. We'd love to get that by March Madness also. And it should be a lot of fun. Like I said, this is my favorite time of the year. I love March Madness. Should be a lot of fun. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We'll be back here next Wednesday night. We're going to preview the SEC tournament. Matter of fact, when we're live, the SEC tournament, men's basketball tournament will be going on with the lower seed games. But we will definitely preview the rest of the SEC tournament. And can Tennessee win their first SEC tournament since 1979? We'll break it all down next Wednesday night right here on Vols Society Live. Until then, this has been David Morrison saying good night and go Vols.